Hello and welcome to the Catholic Passage Podcast. My name is Neil Flattery and I'm today's host. This podcast aims to pursue the truth, an authentic Catholic life, a deep integration of faith and reason, and a joyful community of families raising the next generation of the Catholic faithful. The guest for today's episode is Jenny Condon, who is a parishioner at Holy Trinity Parish in Webster County, Iowa. She's chair of the Catholic Identity Committee at Edmond Catholic Schools in Fort Dodge, and a mother of four. I'm really excited to share our discussion where we discuss Jenny's personal journey in diving deeper into the Catholic faith and her work in the local schools with maintaining and enhancing its Catholic identity and mission. And of course, so much more. We hope you enjoy our conversation and that it might bless you in some way. Jenny, thanks for joining us today. I'm glad we were able to finally make this work.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I know. I remember talking to you after Mass, what was that, a couple weeks ago now, and I'm like, she's going to be great on the podcast. Because you've got a lot to do, and you're doing a lot of stuff for the church, for the local parish, for the local school.
Yes.
And so I'm glad we were able to make this work because I know this will be an interesting conversation. So first off, just to start, I just was wondering if you could just kind of give us a little bit of a background on who you are. Are you a cradle Catholic or a convert or these type of things?
I love talking about this stuff. So I didn't really grow up with any kind of religion background or going to church at all when I was younger. I converted to Catholicism. I went through RCIA, which I believe is now called OCIA, before I got married, which I married a Catholic who is a graduate of St. Edmond. And so I felt, even though I didn't have that upbringing, I knew that it can be a big communicative piece in a marriage and with family life. And so I converted to Catholicism before I was married. And then I did attend church, but I wasn't really actively participating. I wasn't involved in any Bible studies. I didn't really understand what Catholics did and why, kind of that catechesis piece. But God was seeking me out. He's always seeking us out, but God was seeking me out after I had my fourth child. I have 4 kids, ages 12, 10, 8, and 5. They all attend our community Catholic church. And I applied for the school board several years ago, probably, 4 years ago, I think. And when I got on the school board for the Catholic school, they put me on the Catholic Identity Committee. And so I have helped to run that committee. And that I really wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing and I understood what I was doing. And that, in a way, it forced me to learn more and read more. But once I started doing that, I just couldn't stop. And I just, there's always something more to learn and there's always something else to uncover when it comes to God and the vastness of the faith. And I love it so much. And so I still am on the Catholic Identity Committee. And through that program, I've been able to kind of assist our school, our faculty, parishioners, working together on implementing different programs for kids.
Yeah.
But also for the family.
Right.
Because we know that parents are first and foremost when it comes to faith formation. And so it really does take a village, and we can't just focus on the child.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to touch on that Catholic Identity Committee in this conversation as well, but just getting back to your conversion or how was the RCIA process for you?
I think it's definitely different now. At the time, I was also in nursing school, and I probably got out of it what I put into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think people that study theology or Catholicism or do it forever, there's always something to learn. So to cram in all of those different things, the sacraments, that usually kids will go through and study for years
Right.
into like a little 9-month program. It was a lot.
Yeah. What year would this have been? I'm just curious.
So it would have been like 2007.
Okay.
2007 or 2008. And I was young and, finishing up my nursing program and trying to plan my wedding and all of that was kind of first and foremost for me. So, but I think the program has gotten better and I see a lot of like room for growth with it, but it's difficult because everybody's on a different path and journey.
Right. It's hard to have a one size fits all RCIA program or OCIA program for everyone because everyone.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. But overall, it was a great program.
Would that have been Father Shane or was he here yet?
Nope. He wasn't even here. I think it was when we had like multiple, it was like Monsignor and Father Ed, was it?
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe Father Sonny Dominic.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was a long time ago and I don't even remember. I really don't. I would go to church though on Sundays, but I felt frustrated because I didn't know the prayers. I didn't know what they were saying and I wanted to like be involved and I wanted to feel like I was participating, but I still I didn't understand it.
Right.
But I do think going through RCIA, OCIA, however you want to term it, it was an advantage for me because I was able to learn a little bit more rather than my husband, Jeremiah, who went through the Catholic school system and did that through school. I think that catechesis piece is getting better all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And certainly better than it was, 30 years ago for him or whenever it was.
Well, yeah. And it seems like, especially at St. Edmond, if you look around the hallways and you look at the mission statement of the school, it seems like there has been more of an emphasis on, the Catholic values and passing on the Catholic faith. And I wonder if a lot of that has to do with that Catholic identity committee, because I don't remember that even being a thing when I was in school here.
Yes.
I do think, especially when Father Shane came, I feel like he started moving the school in the right direction.
Yeah.
That would have been 2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, can you talk a little bit more about that Catholic Identity Committee and what you guys are doing with that?
Yes. When I came on, we were just coming off, I believe, COVID, or in the midst of it, I should say. And so I felt like I had to kind of start fresh because there wasn't a lot of momentum at the time. So I worked closely with Father Brian Feller, and in 2022, we proposed a religion renewal plan after a lot of work was done from our committee group, but also incorporating, feedback from parents and students and faculty and administration on what things did we need to focus on. And we had 6 different main pillars of focus that we incorporated, and we continue to follow that religion renewal plan. And we actually just did a SWOT review because what we were doing 3 years ago, our goals have changed a little bit, right? We have more students, which is wonderful, but that also opens up more opportunities and need for incorporating some of their spiritual, where are they at with that background? Right. And meeting those parents and those students and also the teachers and supporting them so they can support our students and families. And so that's an always evolving process. But through the religion renewal program, we've been able to roll out some different programs that are active in Catholic identity and active in our school with the parish. But we also like to incorporate the Marian home because we're woven as one.
Right.
And
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's important because, even our elderly folks are an important piece of our community.
I think that's a great thing about the school and the parish too, how it's all intertwined too, because you get all the students are in one building. So, all these students interact with other students, but they're also going to the Marian home and they're interacting with people at the parish too. So I think that's an important part of their education and an important part of passing on the faith throughout generations too.
I love it. And I love going to the all school masses and seeing the kids, everybody in the church And it's just so valuable to allow them to attend adoration. I attend a holy hour on Fridays. And, sometimes the kids will come in or they have it at the church. And I just love seeing the kids come in and having that time with Jesus and prayer and quiet and reflection, which I think is certainly harder in this day and age. But it's just beautiful.
Yeah. And I think especially with a school like St. Edmond, like there seems like there's always kind of this, I don't know if it's a balance that you have to get with, like, the school system is one of the primary means by which the parish is evangelizing in our community. So it's like we have to have that, that zeal for evangelism, if you will, but also like we can't maybe sacrifice the Catholic identity of the school for ecumenism or whatever you want to call it too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a little bit of a balance there too. And so I don't know if that's something with the Catholic Identity Committee, if that's something you guys talk about or.
Yeah, there's always things that kind of are ebbing and flowing and new opportunities. But I think that's how we have to embrace it, because we also have to trust that God will meet us in our problems and will, as long as we're open to the Holy Spirit, he will guide us on what he desires for our school and the church and the community in general. But I love being a part of it, and I love being a part of the Catholic identity. I feel like it's changed everything for me and my family. And so it's been great. And I wish I could do more.
Yeah.
But I do as much as I can.
For sure. Yeah. And I know you're also pretty involved at the parish. Was it your idea to do the Faith and Family Fun Days?
Yes.
What is it? The first Sunday of the month too, in between 7:30 and 10 o'clock Mass?
Absolutely. So Faith and Family Fun Day Sunday came about. We're in our 4th year now. So it came about shortly after I got on Catholic Identity, where we were talking about, okay, how can we get children and families to engage together, to talk about the faith together, to spend that one-on-one time together, come to Mass, make it more of not a routine thing, but make it more of something that they desire and expect and want to do. And so Faith and Family Fun Day Sunday came about, where I wanted to incorporate different families from the parish, not necessarily from the school, but from the parish. And I wanted to have a different family host. So a topic based on Catholicism. They could choose whatever topic it was. A lot of times I encouraged, if it was around Christmas time, maybe you want to talk about Advent or about St. Nicholas. But the fun part was that the family would choose the topic together, and then it was an opportunity for them to get together and discern, how can we bring this information to other families, and what can we do to not only share this information, but to provide that background and that faith. And so it's been a fun program because, one, we do try to host different families, which encourages that participation. It is driven more towards little kids. I would say, even my 12-year-old is sometimes like doing this craft or whatever. But she also is at a point where she wants to be more involved and she wants to do some of the education. Oh, cool. And so we've had different topics, and it hasn't just always been families. We've had teachers that have come, which is great because then they can share that with their students, maybe that aren't attending, and that brings them into the church and gives them that opportunity to seek out Jesus.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and so one of the things I really like about that Faith and Family Sunday is it kind of gives the parishioners an idea of just how, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like how vast the faith is, how much there is to learn about the faith, because it could be one Sunday, could be 1 month, it could be a particular saint. Maybe the next month it could be the Rosary. The next month it could be...
We've done so many different topics on like the miraculous medal. We've done, we had a parishioner who had gone to the Holy Land. She came in and shared pictures of the Holy Land with, and kind of explained this was, the Garden of Gethsemane and
right.
All of these different things. We've had Teresa Brown, who came in and talked about respect for life in October, certainly like in a gentle way with children.
Right.
but yeah, there's only so many different topics that we've talked about, the sacraments and saints, Advent and Lent. And so and everybody has a different idea. Sometimes crafts are the biggest hit. And I always encourage the hosting family to have a YouTube video on backup in case the kids get a little rowdy, which sometimes you do got to change course. But no, it's been a very fruitful program. And at first I had to really get out there and remind people and encourage people to come. But now it's something that has been established. We've been consistent with it. It's on the first Sunday of every month. And we purposely put it in between the 7:30 a.m. Mass and the 10 a.m. Mass, which also the first Sunday of the month, September through May, is also the Children's Rosary at 9:30. And so we wanted to incorporate that together. And so that way families, and it makes for a long morning. Sometimes.
Do you usually go to 7:30 and then stay afterwards, or go to 10 o'clock
we
afterwards?
Usually go to 10 a.m. because a lot of times I will serve either in children's liturgy or my husband is an usher, and we are usually assigned to the 10 a.m. Mass. And so, but it is a long morning for us, but what else would we be doing? I mean, we're spending that quality family time together, and we're learning about something, and we're getting our kids involved, and we're also showing them the impact of service as well.
Yeah.
And so, but I do try to arrange families. Sometimes it falls into place, and sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. But I think, like I said, it's an established program where we always have people coming in. And I would love to see, new families coming in. We have donuts and juice, which is provided from the Parish Life Committee. And so that helps with the kiddos.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them a little donut ball. And
oh, for sure.
For sure. But we have a lot of people that come on right after 7:30 a.m. Mass. And it's just being consistent with the program so people come to expect it.
Okay. Now, what's the next month's topic then?
Yes.
Do you know?
I don't know yet. I do know I have Teresa Tooney set up for April, and for May I have the Slinker family.
Robert or Jason?
Robert.
Okay.
Robert, and I don't know if Robert even knows he's doing it, but Erica is. Okay. And gosh, I can't remember what topic she's doing. And so sometimes I have to set it up kind of last minute. And this last time we had, just this last week, it was the Christy Schulte's family. And she did St. Valentine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so, but crafts are always a hit, and videos and books, and just doing different things to share. But the part of it is not just the parents presenting. We want the kids to get involved. We want the kids to understand it. And how do they explain it to other kids?
Yeah.
Because they have their own unique way of doing that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes Catholic converts, and I don't want to speak for all of them, but sometimes they look at all these different topics that, we put under the umbrella of what is the Catholic faith. And they think that, I have to know all of this stuff, or, this is all vital information that you need to know to be a good Catholic. But it's really not the case like that. You probably know as well as I do that you're constantly learning new things when it comes to the faith and that sort of thing too.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, it's a always learning process. And so, but I think that's the nice thing about the Faith and Family Fun Day Sunday is it breaks it down even for adults. Right. And so that way everybody kind of takes away a piece of it. And so it's been a great program, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, I know the parish is really grateful that you guys, took it on yourselves to put that on, because it's a really great program that you guys been doing.
Thank you.
But I know also we have another type of program that we have kind of in the works here at Catholic Passage, and I know you're going to be helping out with it quite a bit.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about this new book series program that you've been working on?
Yes, it's called Capturing Concepts for You. And it provides parents or even younger people alike who are busy. Everybody is very busy. And I don't know if anybody has a solution for that, but the Capturing Concepts for You allows the, parents or whomever to listen to kind of an overview of a book, a faith-related book that provides some sort of insight, joy, change within your heart or within your life. And so I just started that because I love to read. I'm reading multiple books at any given time. And a lot of them have to do with religion, but it's variable. So one of the books I just did a podcast review on, and this is a new and upcoming program, I just got to get a few recordings out, but was the Read Aloud Family. And I got this book at the Ignatius Press Book Fair that the Catholic Identity just hosted in October. This was the first time we hosted this book fair because usually we always do a scholastic book fair, which is great and fine. The kids love it. But we were also hearing a desire and a want for more wholesome books and titles that we could put in our kids' hands and help them to grow on their own terms. And so with that book fair, when I was helping out with it, I saw this book and it had two of my favorite things in it, read and family. And I was just so enlightened because this book talked about all of the beautiful benefits of simply reading aloud to your children.
Interesting. How
impactful it is, not only emotionally and academically, but it really creates those meaningful and lasting connections. It provides that sense of security and safety, and it's been pretty fun to see because our first book that we just completed was Charlotte's Web, right? A classic. But even though my kids were a little resistant to it, or maybe even they were fidgeting and they weren't listening per se, they were taking it in. And when I'd get to the end of the chapter, I'd say, okay, you guys. And they'd be like, oh, let's just read one more. And even my 12-year-old would come out from her room and she'd, huddle around and want to listen. But it provides, reading aloud to your children provides so much more. One, an improvement in reading comprehension, right? So they're going to be getting words and that articulation of vocabulary that they are not going to get in age-related books. But it also provides them the idea of true conflict, whether or not it's like The Hiding Place, Corrie ten Boom's, personal experience during World War II, like hearing how did people overcome, how do they develop that virtue and that courage to overcome real difficulties, because we really encompass our children in like a safety bubble and we try to protect them from all the bad things, and we don't have to expose them to those, but I think it's important to share so they can develop that empathy that there is true suffering in our world now, but also in the past, and that with faith and with family and with virtue, they can overcome those things.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I love the book. It's so good. And it was by Sarah Mackenzie. And she is also the founder of the Read Aloud Revival podcast. And I think she's got lots of followers. And so I just have been so excited to like incorporate that into my family. That's
cool. Well, I'm interested to seeing the video, that program when it gets out and hearing more about that book too. Back to that Ignatius Book Fair too is cool. I didn't know. I guess I didn't realize it was the first year that we had done it at the school. But I remember talking to another parent, and they're like, "Yeah, my kid brought home a book on like the different parts of the Mass, like a kid's book on it." And I was like, I was learning new things just from reading this book to my child that I didn't know about. So it's almost like, it's almost like a way, if these kids bring these books home, it's almost like a way to evangelize the parents too.
You're absolutely right. That was kind of the whole idea. And Ignatius Book Fair. So Ignatius Press, this was actually, I believe, their second year in rolling out a book fair. And so it was a new program for them, definitely new for us. And so there were a few kinks to roll out and work through. But for the most part, it was very fruitful, and we were able to get money back so we could order more of those wholesome titles for our teachers and for our students to expose them to not only the education, but different stories of saints and by authors that of classic titles. And so I think, it was a really good turnout. And I think next year we want to continue to do that. Of course, Scholastic is always happening during Catholic Schools Week, and that's always a hit for those kids. But I think there's also opportunity that we've worked with Scholastic and trying to provide more of those wholesome titles, or maybe excluding other titles that maybe are not driven towards faith or through what we're trying to
communicate to the kids.
Exactly. Yes.
Huh. What are some other books that what are you reading right now?
So I am reading, let's see.
If you don't mind me asking.
No, I don't. No, I absolutely not. The 5 Love Languages. I am Dr. Gary Chapman. I am such a big fan, but he has a lot of different books on the 5 love languages, whether it's for your children or for your spouse. And he has one on God, and that is so how God speaks to us in different ways. And so that is one. Another one is The Revenge of the Tipping Point. Right? I think that's Malcolm Gladwell, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he's got, a lot of different.
Yeah, he's got some good books. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Origins of You is another one that I'm reading.
Wow, you are reading a lot of books.
I know. It's a lot of books, like all the time. It just kind of depends on my mood.
Right.
Sometimes I want something more self-helpish, and sometimes I want something more serious. And
I typically have like a book I'm reading, a hard copy of a book, but then I have a Kindle, and sometimes I'll have a book I'm reading on my Kindle too. So like, I don't think I read as much as you. I call myself a reader, but I'm not as prolific as maybe I wish I was.
I don't have any social media at all. I've completely cut that out. I actually wrote a book, which I know we're not going to talk about, but I wrote a book. I published it.
Oh, we can talk about it.
And it's on Amazon. It has nothing to do necessarily with faith, but it does talk about I guess igniting your confident self. And so I love to read, and I want to instill that love of reading.
Well, how many years ago did you write your book?
So I started a few years ago, actually. And it was a process. I'd hit kind of a hurdle when it's, with different sections, whether it was the editing or the formatting or the cover, the publishing, all of it. But I did it through Amazon KDP.
Okay.
And so, it came out in August. I haven't had a lot of time to like push it out, but I didn't do it to get rich. I didn't do it to retire early. I did it primarily because it was a fun project and it was a fun journey to do. And
well, good for you. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. And so that was fun. But yeah, I love reading. And so, but because I don't have social media, I have a lot of extra time to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it keeps me focused. So I'm always wanting to learn. And that's why the capturing concepts for you just came very naturally for me, because I have so many other titles that I've read that I can talk about and go through. And so how can we help you more with this Catholic Concepts program? Are you looking for volunteers, people to put out their own videos and stuff like that on different books they're reading? Yeah, I think being aware that this is something that anybody can get involved with, right? I mean, I don't have special podcast equipment, but I was able to get a microphone and I do it at home. And when I am reading a book, I will bookmark a specific page or highlight different things that I could incorporate when I go to maybe review that book. But anybody could do it. And it's just brief. It's, anywhere from 12 to 20 minutes. And the purpose is to provide those folks with the overview, some of the main points, maybe some of the highlights or takeaways that I got out of the book, and what my intentions are or have been from the book.
Yeah.
So whether or not they have that time to read, if it invites somebody to begin reading aloud to their children and to their family, that is a win-win.
Yeah. So like the books that we might be doing on this creating Capturing Concepts program,
Mm-hmm.
they don't necessarily have to be like explicitly Catholic books.
No, they do want to be driven towards faith and family or virtue. So, but no, it doesn't have to, like the Read Aloud family incorporated, certainly a spiritual aspect, but it certainly wasn't all about it.
But Charlotte's Web, is that one you're doing as
yeah, we did
Concept?
complete that, and it was just one because Samantha had it in her room, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of a classic that I think even my 5-year-old will want to listen to. I just bought the whole set of C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, cool.
And because I've heard a lot of things about it, that's not really my forte or taste in books. I'm not big on fiction at all, but I've heard a lot of great things. Obviously, C.S. Lewis is known for, I've read a lot of his other religious books, Mere Christianity or the Screwtape Letters.
Yeah.
But we've just started it, and I'm really excited because there's all these different books, and so that's been fun. It's been fun to
Yeah, that was always a series that I said I haven't read. I maybe read the first couple when I was a little kid. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just wait till I have kids and we can go through the Chronicles of Narnia with them when they get to that age.
Yeah, and you can see the wheels turning in the kids' heads. Like they're putting it's like they're putting these pictures in their minds together. And it's just been really fun to see and watch. And so I'm so grateful that I found that book. It's like, how could somebody read a book about reading aloud to your kids? But it's, in the book, the Sarah Mackenzie, the author, mentions that reading 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day aloud to your children amounts to 60 hours a week. Or 60 hours a year.
Wow.
So, but you're also giving them that academic boost and also that sense of emotional connection to the world and that building of empathy. So I think we all, as parents, want to have empathetic children that are out to do big things and to listen to the Holy Spirit and find what their purpose and their vocation is. And so I think through books and reading and experience, this is going to help guide them with that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm really excited for that to get started, Jenny. And is there anything else you want to touch on here while we have you?
I pretty much talked about some of the main things that are happening within St. Edmond and with Catholic Passage. A lot of really great things. A few other programs that Catholic Identity has been, successful with. That's been very helpful in inviting others, whether it's been through prayer or just involvement, is Virtues in Practice.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you've seen that with your kiddos.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
But it focuses on a 3-year, 1 year of faith, 1 year of hope, 1 year of charity, where the children are able to learn about different virtues. And we try to incorporate families, but we also incorporate saints that have exemplified those virtues in the past. And so and then we, of course, the children get awarded if they're practicing a particular virtue.
Okay, so that's the extent of my involvement with it, is just seeing them on Facebook when they get rewarded.
Exactly, the virtues in practice, yes.
Yes.
And so the virtue for this month, for February, is honesty. And so for each class, the teacher is they talk about this virtue, and we encourage activities at home, or you can be honest through telling me that, did you just get a snack or whatever it is. I mean, they give different examples. The teachers help to incorporate that. But yes, then we usually the kids are then celebrated if they're chosen, if they've modeled that virtue for that month. And of course, we all know that all children have different strengths and gifts. And so that is really fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't realize that was a Catholic Identity initiative. So that's cool that you guys spearheaded that too.
Yes. And then also another really big thing that's growing, which we're so excited about, is CGS, which is Catechesis of the Good Shepherd.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And this kind of focuses on more Montessori play. Maria Montessori, who incorporates, I guess, different, and I don't know if I'm the person to explain it really, but natural growth and development, but also it nourishes that Holy Spirit and that natural love of Jesus, because children are born in love with Jesus. And it's through that formation and that nourishment that they can grow in it. But it's also through if it's not formed or it's not developed or it's not, there's time that hasn't been spent, that people fall away. And so I just got a message from Edmond Catholic, who is one of the catechists, that you do have to go through training. And, but we have it for 3 to 4 year olds. And then also, there's a level 2 as well for older children. So my Benjamin, who's in 2nd grade, is in the level 2. And then Isaac, who's in kindergarten, he's doing level 1. And he's done it for a couple years. And it is really beautiful to see, because they get time with Jesus. They get time in prayer. But Marianne had just texted me this morning, and she said, Benjamin asked to see an extra presentation and catechesis of the Good Shepherd. He enjoys doing drawings after the work. As a response, he is seeking to know more about Jesus. And she also said, Isaac said a prayer out loud yesterday. Often the children pray silently. He prayed for his family and for his sister's stomach to get better. He is responding to the Good Shepherd and thinking of others, and knows Jesus watches over everyone and takes care of them. And so,
oh, that's cool.
It is so cool. Yeah, it really fills my heart. But that is something that we would love to grow. But we need people that are able to do that training, but also to put in the time with those children. But if you ask any of the catechists, they would tell you it's so fruitful to see these children.
Yeah, it's been amazing. My daughter is in the one for 4 and 5 year olds too. She might have been with your son last year too, because I remember seeing Jeremiah there when I was there once. And it's amazing just what they're able to pick up just from that. What is it, an hour and a half or 2 hours there that they're there every week?
Absolutely.
And like what she brings up at home too, the questions she's asking about heaven and Jesus and Mary and all these questions. And I'm like, where is she getting this information from? And I think it's coming from CGS. Yeah,
it is. It is so beautiful to see, but you also see the fruits of that at home and in that child's life. And so that's exciting. And at some point we would love to roll that out for all of our kindergartners, where that's just part of the curriculum. But with the students and that, then that's part of the religion renewal, right? Is why we have to continuously look at that plan, because one, we have to have the space for it. We have to have the people that are trained, and we have to work through teacher schedules. There's so much, but if you don't have that plan, there's not anything to work towards. And so that's always a goal of ours, is that we can help to nourish that relationship in all of our children and all of our students that go through St. Edmond. But that is something that has to be worked through, and it's certainly a long range goal.
Yeah. So like for kindergarten, then they must go, it's an extra thing they do at night then. It's not part of the school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's not part of the curriculum right now. And certainly, I think enrollment is limited, but they do offer classes on, I think, after school on Thursdays and also on Wednesdays, but also in the evening hours. And so my children go right after school. And at first I thought, oh boy, they're going to be really tired. And it's like, oof. Yeah. I don't know how this is going to go, but they do great with it. And so it's been fun to watch, and it's been a fun program to be a part of. Sheila Stein has really helped to champion that, and that's been one of her projects that she's very passionate about. And so there's so many people involved, like Marianne Keston's been wonderful, and Brenna Peters. And so, but we do need more people that are able to commit more long term. And so, and that's how we share the faith, as we talk about these things. We talk about the fruitfulness it can bring. And that way, hopefully, if people feel that nudge and that call, they can hopefully reach out.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's a really great program too. So, yeah, you got a lot going on, Jenny. Is there anything else that we need to talk about then? I'm glad you brought up those last 2 items too.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always a lot happening, but it's all good, and it's all all things that I want to do and that I love to do, and it brings a lot of goodness to my life, but also to everyone's life. And I think the bigger picture is I'm showing my children to be present and to follow God in whatever He desires of us, and to give back through service. Mm-hmm. So it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Catholic Passage Podcast, and we hope that it blesses you. Please check our show notes for a reflection takeaway, as well as more info on Catholic Passage. We aim to support parents and educators as they pass on the Catholic faith and way of life to their children and students. To find out more about what we offer or how you might collaborate with us, visit CatholicPassage.com. Most importantly, you can support us through your prayers. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us.